No, it was not anticipated at all. They came in with an air raid. It was a complete surprise. No one knew what was going on. Not at all. After the North Korean invasion, me and my family moved south back to where I grew up in Chungcheongnam-do. When we were being evacuated by train, so many people were leaving that me and my family were forced to ride on top of the train. I was only 16. During the North Korean occupation, there was always U.S. airplanes that were constantly bombing and doing air raids on these lands that were controlled by North Korea at the time. Before an air raid, usually there was sirens that would signal, and everyone's family had already built bomb shelters because we were anticipating this. And when these sirens went off, we would go into our bomb shelters. We used gas to light our shelters instead of electricity and we turned the lights off in our houses because all these places with lights on were targets for air raids, and these places usually got bombed, so we had to keep a low profile so we wouldn't get bombed. No, I did not know of anyone that was didn't have any connections to someone who was killed by North Korean soldiers, but what they did do is they took many politicians and bureaucrats that held high government positions in South Korea, and many of them they took them to the mountains and they were shot. My younger brother, who was 14, and my younger sister, who was 12 at the time, they were not involved at all, but my older brother, who was 22, was actually drafted into the South Korean army. He tried desperately to avoid the draft, but he was forced to serve. Luckily, he survived. He ended up surviving the war, but my older sister, who was 26, was married, and her husband was also drafted into the South Korean army, and he was captured and thrown in prison and later shot. During the war, while North Korea was occupying, they had this, it was called Women's United, and it was an organization where the North Korean government tried to impose the North Korean way and ideology on women, and I was too young for this. They only took middle-aged women, but my sister was forced to go to these classes. Food was very scarce during that whole time period because lots of the time whenever North Korean soldiers would run out of supplies and food, they would actually take them from houses and raid houses. Sometimes North Korean soldiers would just come into our house and take our food and our grains, and we couldn't do anything about it. That was the way it was.